Testing, testing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to last lecture. It is it is our honor to introduce someone who has been the backbone of Cornell men's hockey for over 30 years, Coach Mike Schafer.
A proud Cornell alum, Coach Mike Schafer returns in 1995 and built more than just a winning program. He built a legacy. Under his leadership, Cornell became a powerhouse in college hockey, earning championships, NCAA appearances, and the respect of teams nationwide. He has been a mentor, leader, steady force in the lives of countless student athletes.
Today, we've asked Coach Mike Schafer to step away from the ice and do something a little different. We've invited him to give a last lecture, a chance to reflect on the lessons he's learned throughout his career and share some wisdom as if this were his last chance to do so. Please join me in welcoming the legendary Coach Mike Schafer.
No. Yes. Works. All right. Good. Well, this is kind of intimidating. Not only is it my last lecture, it's my first lecture. And not only my first lecture, but my comm professor from 1984, who gave me a B minus, is sitting right over there. And Baker, this place, my last memory of this was an exam, and that didn't go well. So hopefully this goes a lot better than that. But having this last lecture, I want to say Sullivan Mack, one of our seniors, asked me, "Do you mind speaking to our class, a smaller little thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll go in, I'll wing it." And then I started researching it and talking to him. And it's like, well, yeah, there's more than 20 people. And then I asked, "How big is it?" He said, "A couple of hundred." And so this is pretty crazy to be a last lecture. Then to think about what I was going to say became even more intimidating. In the sense of when I talk to our players and I talk to our alumni, talk to fundraising, talk to different groups, it takes a little bit of a different venue. I'm the expert in that area of hockey and Cornell hockey, so it makes it a lot easier. But to really think about what you'd say in your last lecture and try to piece that all together with all the different things that you try to teach your players throughout the course of a 4-year career is kind of intimidating. Try to put it all in a quick little lecture here. So, how many people here have not been to Liner Rink? Not been. Ooh, geez, I was going to say then you guys are going to have to leave if I was going to ask you to leave if you haven't been. But so, and how many people sit right behind the bench, right near the bench, a couple rows back? So I have a question. Do professors swear? Kinda? No, that's going to take out a lot of my vocabulary here tonight then. So, but for me, it's exciting to talk to you a little bit about what I've learned. And over 30 years, I've reinvented myself, kind of relearned our sport. I've changed a lot as a coach, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But before we get going, you're going to have to help me out here. As I said, my first lecture. Oh, not that one. That one. So it's you know, as Lina Rink is a special place. And I'll talk about the importance of athletics at Cornell. But before I get even this lecture, you know, I went with I always wanted to go with the yellow patches for a professor. And but before we even get going on that, I'm going to try this, see what happens. Slope day's coming pretty soon. Yeah. 1986, so that was my senior year. And in 1985, they changed the drinking age to 21. All right. So in 1986, the university decided to move slope day up to North Campus and fence it in. So the class in 1986 said, no way. And no social media. They chalked the sidewalks, passed it around by word. And their big saying was, take back the slope. So you're welcome. Oh, that didn't work. There we go. Importance of athletics at Cornell. So you saw a line of rink there. Why is athletics crucial to Cornell and a university? But I think even more so here. And it's the reason I've stayed here for so long, is that you look at line of rink, it embodies everything about what you want. As a student, it combines student, faculty, townspeople, alumni, all in one place. And when you guys go to the line of rink, it's not because you probably knew a lot about hockey. It's because it's an event, right? It's to go there and cheer on your university and cheer on your school and have pride. So when you go to Madison Square Gardens and you see 14,000 Cornellians at Madison Square Gardens dressed in red, you see the importance of what athletics has. It brings that university school spirit. You know, hey, studying chemistry in a Baker lab doesn't drive that bus, right? So I know we got some lacrosse guys. CJ Kirsch, you're here, right? Where are you? Stand up, sir. So why is it so important? Our lacrosse team, #1 team in the country right now. #1 team in the country, right? Now these guys are driving the bus for Cornell pride across the country. For alumni, when you sit there and you open up the newspaper, sorry, show you how old I am now. When you scroll on Twitter or whatever you guys scroll on, you look on it, you go, hey, this kid's going to break the record this weekend for the most goals in college lacrosse history. So get there. Get to the field on Saturday. Watch these guys play. And that will, your interest in Cornell, line of faithful will carry for the rest of your life, but Cornell athletics. And that's why it's so important, all right, is on campus to have that school pride and have that pride for the rest of your life as you're a Cornell alum. My journey, I mean, I came from a real small town. That's a picture of my hometown. About 2,000 people, blue-collar home. I came from a family of 9. I'm the youngest of 9. Our home was 900 square feet. I was what Cornell embodies. I was the first generation. How many people here are first generation to go to Cornell in your family to go to college? Hands up. That's crazy, right? And I say to our team all the time, you either love to win or you hate to lose. But there's always something really motivates you in your life. And for me, it was my mother who told me, you can't do it. Right? You can't do it. You could never go to college. Okay, I'll show you. Even when it was 2003, we got to the national Final Four. I said, come on down to Buffalo. She said, well, if you get to the championship game. Right? So mine is to prove people wrong. Always has been, and it always will. Is to prove people that I can do it. And I try to, for our team, we kind of embody that a little bit, to prove people wrong, to have an underdog mentality. So I learned all that stuff when I was growing up. As many of us, we get our own habits when we grow up from our family. A family of 9, that you better be on time for supper. Our team's very disciplined, or there's no supper left. Everything had its own place. 9 people in a 900 square foot home. You know, you can imagine. But for me, my journey, I left home when I was 17 to play junior hockey, and that's why I realized for sports it was a little bit of a cutthroat living because lots of guys got cut from our team and traded. I didn't know if I was going to be able to stay there and survive, whether I was going to get sent back to my hometown and have to work in the factory like my 5 brothers did. And then after I got to junior hockey, I got to Cornell. First thing I came to Cornell, and I think, how many athletes here? Right? I didn't know whether I belonged. Right? I'm sitting there, and I still remember being at North Campus going and listening to all these kids talk about, you know, their achievements and seeing how smart they were. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't belong here. You know, am I going to survive here? I still remember going up. They used to not post it online. I remember taking my entrance math exam at Cornell, and I remember scrolling down. It's like, man, I'm already bottom 5% of this place. I hadn't taken math in 3 years because I played junior hockey till I was 20. But I got to Cornell, but it opened my eyes up to the world. I came from a real small town, and I learned so much by talking to other people, where people were from across the world. And it opened my eyes up from a small kind of a redneck guy from Durham, Ontario. Then after here, I was fortunate enough, I moved fast. I met my wife at a sorority raid in October. Hey, she was my only girlfriend. I only had one girlfriend. I met her and I couldn't waste my time. You know, my dad always told me, well, true, my dad told me women are evil. Now you got to understand that comment. My brother was destined to play. He was headed towards the NHL and he came home to be with his wife and a small town girl, right? So he told me stay away from women. So I did. So my senior year, I met her at a sorority raid and quickly engaged in April. So I moved fast. Fell hard. But I was hired as assistant coach right away, and I spent 4 years here. And then I knew right away I needed to leave, and I needed a change. I needed a challenge. I needed to get out of here, go somewhere else, and learn from someone different. And I went to Kalamazoo, Michigan. Was there for 5 years. And Western Michigan just won the national title in hockey. So kind of bittersweet because I was wishing we were there to beat them. But bittersweet that there. And then I came back in 1995. And that was kind of my journey. I came back in here and I really kind of adapted myself. I had success recruiting and I came back into here and I was ready. And I was 32 years old, the youngest coach in the country. I'm like, okay, now I got the job. What do I do? And for me, it was pretty easy what I was going to do. And it was easy for me to build culture. First thing I was going to do is everything that I grew up learning, work ethic. I remember going home my freshman year, thinking I was pretty hot shit. I playing hockey at Division I school, playing hockey, actually going to college. Thought I was pretty good. And I got home, I was exhausted. And I remember getting up at 6:30 in the morning, I'm sleeping in. My dad woke me up. He worked like 3 jobs. He goes, let's go. I'm like, go where? He says, we're putting up a snow fence. And for the next 8 hours in the snow, putting in a snow fence, I'm like, oh, I better get that degree. But his work ethic was tremendous. And that's where I grew up. And that's how I base a lot of our teams on, is like, we are going to outwork you in every situation. And I think for you guys who are entering the college real world, I think work ethic, and I just be honest, listening to the employers, has dropped off. It's hard out there. Even my own son, we had a saying, the optional is not optional. Optional is a way to get ahead. And work ethic, when they say you can or cannot come in. Come into work. All right? Don't take the luxury of staying at home. And it's kind of a new breed. COVID has done that to us I always have this saying, working from home. I can't find anybody they're working from home. Like, damn, you can't coach hockey from home, And so work ethic was going to be one, thinking about your teammates and failure. 3 of those, to me, right off one of the first things I did. All those athletes, you run those stadium steps, right? It's one of the hardest, most grueling workouts. Anybody see the movie Miracle? All right. Let's combine the two. So I told our guys in my first meeting, I want you guys to work hard, but I want you to encourage each other. Those are two things. I want you to take care of each other. So we're running the stadium steps. And they're starting to drop. Garbage cans are out. They're throwing up. Guys can't make it down the stairs. But there's not one guy helping anybody else. They're not encouraging them. Let's go. So I'm just like, again, let's go. Up, up. We had one strength coach, Tom Alley. Coach Alley, let's go up and down the stairs. It took them, they weren't very smart. Took them a long time to figure out. And one guy who was going to be our captain, Brad Chartrand, said, come on, guys, let's go. Help him down the stairs. As soon as he said something and as soon as he helped the guys down, we were done. And that was the start of our culture that we were going to outwork everybody, but we were going to be tight as a hockey team. That is still one of our pillars of our program. We just had a young lady give us a huge donation. And she came in 1996. She was an architecture student. She walked into the rink, and she was first generation from California, and she was watching our guys skate. And she was thinking about quitting Cornell. And she looks down the ice and saw us, our guys, going up and down the ice for 2 hours. And she was, that's hard work. So I can survive architecture. And then years later, she remembered that and gave back to Cornell hockey because it came from out of the blue, and I asked her about her story. So work ethic, getting the right people in the locker room is no different in the business world. We call them talent traps. Kids are really talented or people are really good. You want to get the right people in the room that want to care about each other, that do want to work, that love to work hard, and that's recruiting. And I've been blessed by a great staff for 30 years and assistant coaches and getting the right people in the recruiting process. I am so much better of a coach with better players. It's crazy. When we have good players, damn, I'm good. But I've been blessed to have a lot of good players for a lot of years, and that's led to a lot of success. Then at last, accountability, it to me is the thing that I went from at the start. You're late, you run the stadium steps. You're late, I'm going to run you. And then, you couldn't do it anymore. We used to have a thing called Big Red Reminder. And all of a sudden, the NCAA said, you can't do that. You can't punish your athletes. I'm like, what do you mean you can't punish them? Right? There's no more Big Red Reminder. We'll change it to Big Red Wake Up. So on time, stuff in its place, because it's selfish, all right? It's selfish to do anything but that. To do what you want to do on your time, and when you want to do it is nothing but selfish in a team setting. And I think that's the big lesson with accountability. So two things changed in my coaching career. The first one was a book called Mindset. And I really encourage you to read it. And it changed because I was still in that culture building. We won 2 championships. We dipped down. We came back. We won a couple more championships. The Ivy League changed the recruiting rules and the funding. So I adapted to that. And then they changed it again. And we dropped off a little bit. And so at that point in time, I was struggling a little bit as a coach because I was still that demanding, no relationships probably with a lot of our guys. Not bad, but not where I wanted to be. So in the mindset, I changed. Growth versus fixed. So if the lacrosse team goes into the game this weekend, CJ better focus on the process of getting goals, right? Just the process. What it takes to score, what it takes to win. And a fixed mindset is just focused right on the result. And goal scorers can be like that. And a lot of people are like that. And for the mindset, for me, I want a growth mindset on our team. So a lot of these things kind of combine with each other, but it's really important in parenting your kids, in groups, your job, your relationships. And so for me in the growth, it's about process versus result. Yeah, everybody wants to win a national championship. Everybody wants to win a game. Everybody wants to be financially successful. Everybody wants to be happy in their job, but you have to follow the process rather than the result, or you're going to be really disappointed. So mental health is the big key word, right? The key word. So we have some guys coming, oh, coach, I'm struggling mentally. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, give me a break. You're struggling mentally. You're pissed off because you're not scoring goals or you're not in the lineup. That's what you're struggling with. So why don't you do this, this, and this like we're asking you to do, and you'll get in the lineup or you'll start to produce. So it's no different that process versus result, and especially praise versus talent. Where does it come in parenting, right? Like my own kids. I got a 96. I'm thinking, hey, that's pretty good. As a dad, I'm going, that's good. What are you worried about? I should have had a 97. Hey, did you study hard? Did you do everything possible? Did you do the optional? All right. Did you do all those things? Yeah. Then let it be your will. It's there. It's done. Don't have anxiety. If you do all the work, why in the world would you go in and have anxiety on a test? Like my daughter went to, when I say I married really well. Really well. My oldest son's a lawyer. My middle son came back, got his MBA at Cornell, works in New York City. My daughter is a resident doctor in Tufts. So when I say I married well, I did really well for myself. But the kids, especially with my daughter, who's got dyslexia, who studies her ass off, has a harder time competing. I'm like, did you do all the work? Maybe you're not going to be in the top 10% of the med school, but who cares? You're going to be a great doctor. You're going to do a good job. Just focus on that. Because when the time comes, you're a hell of a lot more personable than those other kids, and you're going to crush it when you're an intern and when you're a resident. Just stay the process, not the result, right? Same thing with praise effort, not talent. We have nothing in our room that says anything about player of the week, player of the month, all Americans. We never bring it up. We never bring up where we are in the country, because all I want to do is praise effort. So where's the growth mindset with our guys? Our freshmen struggle when we play and you guys cheer like crazy and we beat a team 3-2, and everybody's going nuts, and they come off the ice and I'm waiting for them. I'm like, what was that? Right? Because our effort and our process wasn't very good. It's not about the result. It's not about what we won. It's about, did we do the things that we were supposed to? And if we didn't do that, then we weren't very good tonight. And that's a hard lesson to learn. But it's also a lesson for academics. Oh, I didn't do so well. Oh, you study? Well, I studied. Okay. I mean, no, you didn't study. Let's just get it out there. You didn't get through it. So parenting and recognizing effort rather than how smart your kid is or how talented they are is just to recognize their effort. The same with the hockey team. And then challenge is opportunity. People with a fixed mindset, they see opportunity and they look at it as that it might be a possibility of failure, right? Like it's for me, when I saw opportunity, I saw it as a chance to prove my mother wrong, right? My hometown wrong, anybody wrong, right? I saw a challenge as an opportunity, not as failure. It wouldn't even enter my mind. And so I think that's a great growth mindset. So the second book, that's the practical. See, I'm not that good as a professor. I'll move on. The second book that changed it for me was a book called Season of Life. It's about a guy named Joe Urban. He was you're going to get a chance at TED Talk for 14 minutes. Awesome as an athlete. It's awesome as a dad. It's awesome as a male. And when I say that, because he talks about raising young men and he talks about athletics. And for me, it was like that when I was growing up. I was the last of 9. Like, I was an afterthought, man. I'm like, they didn't even know where I was half the time in the hometown. And so if I came home hurt, I still remember this day, I came home, I was running through the school, and my toe was sticking out the side because I had stubbed my toe, right? And I had to walk home, and I'm like, my toe's sticking out. And my dad said, don't cry. I'm like, that's not very loving, you know, like. But I grew up, my dad never told me he loved me. My mom, 9 kids. It was like, don't cry, no emotion, you know, like, and I'm like, thinking about that, I'm like, that just was what being raised in a family of 9 by a guy that was a lumberjack in the 1900s, blue collar man, right? So fast forward to having a team, I was like that with our team. This and that, let's go. No pain, no nothing. And then it turned, I had 2 sons. And I started doing that with my sons. I remember my son coming home, hey, he's crying. Crying. What are you crying about? You know, the old saying, I'll give you something to cry about, right? How many guys have heard that from, you know, hey, I'll give you something to cry about. That's why my mother was right-handed. That's why I kind of tilted my head this way a little bit. But I read the book, and it's about this guy who was a football player. He played at Syracuse, played for the Washington Redskins. It's an unbelievable book. He talks about the troubles in society today, that young men are afraid to show emotion. There's actually a documentary out. It's called The Mask, and it was a movie that was downtown, and it's out for educators. It's unbelievable. But the first thing is redefine masculinity. When we talk to our guys about, like, the very first thing is that, you know, to show emotion to your kids, the parenting, like to be loving, because you want your young boys to grow up to do the things I'm going to talk about, right? You want them to help others. That's the first thing. There's a definition of this Joel Ehrman talked about being a man was you need to help others, service, help people that can't help themselves. See something, do about it. That's a man. And the second thing you talk about, what young men are taught when they're young, is the conquest of women when they're young. And we talk about in our program all the time. We have a rule. You get caught swearing in front of a woman, it's a fine. You know, we have a kangaroo court, and, you know, unless you're in extreme pain in the training room and there's a women's hockey player there, then it's okay. But how you treat women, how you talk to them, how you respect them is so important as a man. You think about that, treating your own sons to have that relationship with their wife. My oldest son, unbelievable dad. I got a grandkid. He's incredible. My dad never washed a dish, never did a diaper, never washed clothes. So I've broken that cycle. I do that at home, but I broke it earlier. I did it myself. So, and you know, and the third thing for me is money. Like, being a man is always about material things, conquest, to be as rich as you can, to have power, right? Like, and that's the opposite. We have a saying, and you'll see in the service how this is all tied in. In service, being a man is about, yeah, go for the money, have success, but what are you going to do with it? Are you going to help others? Are you going to be a service to others? Are you going to use it wisely and be a strong person in your community? So those are the things we talk about our guys. But what did it do for me? It ended up having more relationships, deeper relationships with our players, but more vulnerable. Our guys have seen me cry enough. They don't need it today. About being emotional and being vulnerable and sitting down. We have a retreat where we talk about, you know, the person that you respect the most in the world. We talk about the worst day of your life and the best day of your life. And to see young men break down and cry about the worst day of their life is powerful. So we talk about that because trust, it's funny. I sat in an athletic department meeting, and we had a speaker, and he gave this pyramid, and he had all these things. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. You know, this guy, he had a PhD, and I'm like, he missed the bottom one, trust. Like, it's in everything you do. If your players don't trust you, and you're not trusted as a boss, and you're not trusted as a husband, what kind of relationship do you have? Right? I'm a very vengeful person. What I mean by that is, you break my trust, it's over. I wish I was a better person than that, but I'm not. I'm 62, I'm retiring, and probably not change it. I wish I could, because trust is to me is the most important thing in my relationships with anybody in my life. So then it gets to me this lecture. How will you be remembered in legacy? Like C.J. Kurst. You didn't even know you're going to be part of this lecture, did you? Do you want to be remembered for what you did or how you did it? Right? That's legacy. Keep throwing us around. I just view myself as a hockey coach. I never got fired. I thought I did a great job. Right? I beat the odds as a coach. But like for CJ, if he's an asshole, I don't know CJ very well, but if he was an asshole, then what's his legacy? He scored the most goals in NCAA history, but he's an asshole. Like when you get be older and you get on, how is your legacy at work with your family, right? What is your legacy? Because I can tell you, I just moved all my stuff out of my office, right? Championship rings, Coach of the Year awards. You know where they are? Right where my wife put all my awards from college. In a bin in the basement on the shelf, right? So the awards really mean nothing in the sense of, but how did I do it? And I didn't do everything. Like, trust me, I didn't do everything right. I've got some bad relationships with from former players. I had rough relationships where I didn't do the right things. I did the wrong things and trying to pull guys' potential out of them. I made mistakes left and right. I get, but we'll get to that one. But at the present time, I thought it was the right thing to do. And I admit I'm wrong to our guys a lot. Probably I should do it more than I did. So how does this tie into another pillar of our team is service. So service to me is the key I said before about mental health. The guys who come in, they're struggling. I'm like, why don't you wake up in the morning and think about doing something for someone else? Like on the team, give them a ride home. Ask them how they're doing. Like how many people walk into my office like, I'm really struggling. I'm going to go on this. I'm not playing. I'm like, hey, why don't you get away from the I and ask other guys how they're feeling and what they're doing? Can you do something for them and be a lot less selfish, be more selfless? And I think, again, that's the key to mental health and longevity in any job or in life. You know, I want to jump to number 2. But it's also key to being a good teammate or person. Like you sit down with friends and you sit down with some people you've just met, and they're just on and on and on. You have those conversations like, man, is this person ever going to take a breath and ask any kind of question about what's going on in our life, you know, or our kid's life, or, you know, whatever. And you meet those people rather than, I always found out, what my brother gave me the best advice ever. It's worked for me in marriage, and it's worked for me in relationships. Always answer a question with a question. Honey, do you like this dress? Do you like this dress? So men, you pull one thing out of this lecture, that will make you a happy husband for the rest of your life. But asking questions and asking people what's going on with them. So service, our guys, where I've met our guys the most and got to know our guys the most, is we go down to the Dominican. I'm part of a foundation. Then we go down to the Dominican Republic. We build latrines. We built churches. And we built houses. We fixed ball diamonds up. We had a food pantry. We've provided visas for Haitians in the Dominican. We've done a ton of stuff. But it's always great to spend a time with our players. And I'll show you the video. There you go. This is your area of expertise. Girls, stop it. There it is. I'm throwing her. Oop, I didn't do that. So that trip is we go down for a few days and we do all kinds of water filters. It's unbelievable. We started a school down, the priest started a school down there that for kids with learning disabilities. And that was probably the most fun we had, the whole time we were there. And so at Racker Center, our team's very involved with the Racker Center. A lot of our athletic teams are involved with different service organizations. Our kids go and they're at a new field. I think when people think of community service, they think of that person got in trouble and they got to do community service. Whereas the service that we're really proud of our athletes is, and a lot of our athletes do it, is much like this. This is a phenomenal trip. And a few of the guys that have been down there. So got a few minutes left. I'm just going to go through bullet points and leadership and different things that I think that is to me, a little bit different than the classroom. Leadership to me is someone's always going to be pissed off with a decision you make, right? That doesn't matter. Someone's going to be unhappy. The starting lineup, who plays, who doesn't play, someone's always mad. So in my position as a leader, I always felt, you know what? Make the right decision, what you're thinking, what your gut is, and live with it, because then you can put your head down and sleep at night. Don't question yourself. Just go with it, because someone's mad, all right? So don't worry about the person that's mad. Just worry about making the right decision. You got confrontation. In leadership, people take all kinds of leadership courses. They go out, they read books on it. They do all the different things on leadership. Captains get trained. They do all these different things, right? But the number one thing in leadership is confrontation. And I always say this is where most leaders fail. Most bosses fail in business. Most people fail is they do not like confrontation. They hate it. They'll avoid it. And it really undermines everything that goes on within team building. Like captains, the captain out there as a team, and you see one of your athletes doing something. Good captains walk right over and correct it. That's not what we do. Poor captains, they don't want confrontation. They don't want to think that their friend might not like them as much, right? And it happens in business. So confrontation is key to being a great leader. Because I put over there, leaders is just a conduit of that accountability. What I mean by that is, I didn't fire you. I didn't cut you. You cut yourself. You got yourself fired. I'm just the bearer of bad news, right? You're not doing your job. You're not being productive. I'm just the bearer of bad news. So it happens. Leaders have to make those tough decisions. And then self-reflection is a dying art, man. Like, I'm really happy with this group because you haven't been on your phone. I was waiting for one person to pull their phone out and look because I was going to make an example of you. But self-reflection is a dying art. And what I mean by that is you have a talk with an athlete. When I grew up, I've had a tough conversation with a coach. I never talked to my mom till Sunday. Like, you only call once a week, the conversation. Like, how you doing? Good. Think going good? Yeah, you're going good. Yeah, good. See you next Sunday. All right. Self-reflection by the time you walk out and you think about what was just said to you by your boss. My son said this. He's at the law firm. He's at big law. He got out of it. And he's like, my boss was yelling at me. I'm like, what do you mean he was yelling at you? Like, he was yelling at me. Was he yelling at you? Or is he like telling you you're doing something wrong? Because the first is yelling. The second one, it was just holding you accountable. And he's like, okay, yeah, this is the second one. Don't be afraid to have quiet time. And what I mean by that is walk on campus with your phone down. There'll be times I go out for a walk or go for a run or walk on the treadmill or do something, and I'm thinking about something with our team, and by the time I'm done, I'm doing the exact opposite. I thought about giving a day off, like, no way. Or I'm going to kill them today, and I'm going to give them a day off. But that quiet time to reflect allowed me to change my mind. And self-reflection, for an athlete, talk to our athletes about diary, like diary and evaluate. Where'd you stand today? Were you assertive? Because you guys, you're Cornell. There's so many perfectionists in here, type A people. Like, it should be a question mark on your application. Are you type A? Yeah, you're here. Cornell, right? But it's the perfectionism about diarying about, hey, was I a good person today? Was I a good teammate? Writing it down and reflecting on it. If you want to change, you got to do some things active in order to change, right? And diarying and talking to yourself, I'll be better tomorrow. I'm going to, you know what? This person said that to me today. You guys this person put this on my Instagram account today, and I'm going to stand up to them tomorrow. I'm going to delete them from my Instagram account. I don't know if that happens, but I'm mentally tough. Last things is we talk about an athlete being mentally tough. This is where I think it translates to students. This is where it translates to the workforce, is mentally tough people, all right? They fight through stuff, or the anxiety or depression. My wife's a counselor. And she has her own business in town. We talk a lot. No, that came across wrong. And she does counsel me too. But I hear what she says, and she talks to me about what she says to people, and it's like, hey, make a decision. Like, you keep talking about how do something. And I use it with our guys. If they're down, be like, hey, don't feel sorry for yourselves. Like, that's a quality of a person who's not mentally tough. Like, do something about that. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Do something that makes you happy, and do something every day that makes you happy. Singing, I don't know, what do you guys do to make yourself happy? Do it, but don't feel sorry for yourself. And you say to yourself, that's not happening. I'm not letting that in my head. Beat it. You self-talk to yourself. He said, control what you can control. I mean, pretty simple, right? But it's something that people are always worried about, things they can't control, especially in athletics. Mentally weak people are always worried about things they can't control. Always, right? And if you find that wisdom to know the difference between what you can control and you can't, you'll live a happier life. Mentally welcome challenge. Did I spell that right? Yep. Mentally tough people love challenges. They don't shirk from them. They want it. They don't see failure as a situation that's going to, they don't even think about it. They welcome it. I fail, I get back up. Don't worry about what other people. It goes back to the growth mindset. Biggest problem, right? Like, our guys, they're NHL draft picks. They don't score. They come out, they talk to their scout, they talk to this. They're worried about, am I going to sign a contract? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what other people. Don't worry about, it's the growth mindset. I'm not here to please you. I don't care about being judged. Right? Our parents judge you guys. I know. Parents judge us more than anything. Right? Don't worry about being judged and pleasing people. Grow up. Mentally tough people, don't worry about that. Don't dwell on the past. Second, resent other success. Now, I made $14,000 as a first-year assistant. I bartended at a bar, same year. I drove a hearse for $50 for funerals. I was not the most wealthy paid Cornell alum coming out. My wife was a social worker. So between the two of us, we were like making about $26,000. And I was a house parent at Kappa Delta. Any KDs here? I tell you what, being at Kappa Delta was a hell of a lot harder than coaching a hockey team. 45 girls, they're all worried about everything except for. But Don't resent other people's success when you get out of college. Do what makes you happy. Because if you resent I said this morning, who the hell takes a picture on Instagram of the girls with their hair all over the place and no makeup, go, hey, this is a good day today, and send it out. Don't be judged. Don't resent what others' success, because what they're putting on there is not really success. Be happy with what you're doing. I say that Cornell gives you opportunity to do what you want to do. It's not just financial, right? Don't resent it. Respond after failure. Don't expect immediate results. Our team was this year. Everybody picked us to be first in our league, top in the country, and we got injuries like crazy, and we weren't going to get immediate results, but we still wanted it. We still wanted those immediate results, and it was a problem for us a while until we got guys back healthy. And even in games, when you go down 1-0, things don't go well for you in business. First quarter's not going so good. Don't expect immediate results. Follow the process, keep it going, and you'll get what you want. And then a lot of kids, feel like they're owed something. Like growing up in a small town, I wasn't owed anything, right? I didn't feel when I came to Cornell, I was the luckiest. I thought I was the luckiest person in the world. I didn't feel like anybody owed me anything. And again, if you're mentally tough people, they don't feel that way. They don't feel like they should be the first line left winger. They don't feel they should be on a power play. They just figure, mentally tough people figure, if I'm going to get a promotion and I work hard, I will get that promotion. Not that guy needs to promote me. That's a tough way to live. And then last, we have the givers, not takers. People are mentally tough. They give, they don't take. It's a pretty simple thing. So I'm at 7:04. I'm done. Congratulations, boys. Good championship this year. One of the best victors. So, but where's Professor Earl? Where are you? That was a hell of a lot better than my comm back in the old days, wasn't it? So, you know, just time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. That's it. Anybody have any questions? R-rated. Next question. Favorite Cornell memory? Ooh. As a student? Can't tell. No. No, it's a funny story. We were playing a game, and this kid didn't play all year. And he came in as a walk-on. He's on the bench. And one of our kids came off the bench. He lost his helmet. Paolini, you're up. Stand up. He thought he was jumping on the ice. Go, give that guy your helmet. And he wasn't too happy. Favorite Cornell moment? Probably, there's so many of them. The championships are always nice. I think this championship this past year, it was funny. I went in the locker room, the guys doused me. And my players from the previous years were like, why didn't we do that? I go, why didn't you? And we went through so much this year to win a championship. Was one of the best experiences that I've had, and it was fun. So. Yeah, getting asked that question a lot. Honestly, Friday, Saturday night, I haven't had a Friday, Saturday night off between October and March. I don't know, since I was, these guys are athletes. I mean, when you played, you play Friday, Saturday. So my wife and I'm looking forward to spending that Friday night kicking up and going, we're not going anywhere tonight. That's probably the thing I'm really looking forward to in October, November. So thanks for coming tonight. This was awesome. Appreciate it. So thank you.
Okay. Let's give one more round of applause to our speaker, Coach Mike Schafer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming to last lecture. We look forward to seeing you guys again in the fall. Woo.